Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Most Serious Podcast. And today we've got a fitness travel enthusiast. And we're going to talk to her and we're going to discuss, a lot of insights, a lot of experiences that she's gone through and decipher them and understand what all they mean to her and how can we relate to them. Welcome to the show, Palak.
Thank you. Thank you, Raman. Thanks a lot. Good
So
to be
let's
here.
start. Yeah, so let's start with your. Do you want to start at your what you're doing currently, or do you want to start with something that you relate to a specific decision point in your life? Like let's say your first job, or do you want to talk about how you made the decision to quit that job and then transition to something of your own? What's your usually introductory point? How do you relate to your story the most?
I relate to this to my story the most when there was definitely a turning point, a decision point, as you said. And let's start from there because it would be interesting and relatable to a lot of women out there, I feel.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
And yeah, yeah.
so I feel like that turning point came in my life way back in 2020. I myself was a very skinny person. I've always been on the skinnier side and I never really cared about it much because unlike obesity, it's not widely talked about.
Yeah.
And even though I wasn't obese, but I was still not healthy, you know. And that transition came in when during the lockdown, I started working on my fitness level. I felt like I'm not able to find the right guidance
Hmm.
because I was completely, firstly, like, of course, there was the studios, the gyms were shut down. But even then, when you want to seek the right guidance, it's very hard because people would just give you like a general plan. They would not really understand that, you just think 10 push ups to a woman would not work
Yeah.
because a women who is starting out cannot go through like and do a 10 push ups.
Yeah.
They have to be trained differently than men.
Hmm.
And from my own experiences, the lack of guidance in the industry, that led me to that was like the decision point when I thought, okay, I want to do this. Like I want to become a fitness coach. That was one turning point that actually happened.
And how do you see yourself, progressing through that? Like, I'm sure, once you go through something of like an inflection point in your life, then you also start making changes in your lifestyle. You also start viewing life a bit
Mhm.
differently. So, do you think like you
Right.
from that point on are now a more healthier person, a more, physiologically better person? You feel better in some sorts of way?
Absolutely. I think I am a completely changed person thanks to fitness. And I gathered all the information on my own. Like, as I told you, I did not have the right guidance to how to become fit. So I had to do my own research. I had to do my own study. In fact, that was also one of the reasons like I took my fitness certification. And now I think 4 years, yeah, 3.5, 4 years down the line, I feel I'm in the best shape. Like
Yeah.
all my markers are good. I remember I used to fall sick every season change. Every Delhi winters, I used to fall sick. That has completely eliminated now from my life. So my immunity is better. And even during COVID, like I felt my recovery was a lot faster.
Hmm.
I mean, like I did start training myself and adopting a healthy lifestyle during that time, but within 1 year, I felt like even though I got COVID twice, but then it lasted only like 5 days for me. And within 5 to 6 days, I was like back. So
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely feel like a changed person now.
But how do you convince this to people? So I always think about this that how can a person who is used to living in a state of being, okay, they are used to, let's say someone is used to being fat, or someone is used to being in an unhealthy lifestyle, or someone is used to being in unhealthy eating habits, something like that, okay, how do you convince them that you do exercise or you adopt some physically active lifestyle and you will feel better? Now, how does that feel better, translates to them? So I'm sure, you would have a hard time with your clients explaining this. How do you, when you say that I am feeling better, but how can someone quantify that?
Right. So, see, I think the first thing is to be aware. Right now, let's just take an example of a man who's working, or woman, you know, they are doing an 8 to 9 hour shift. They're sitting for 8 to 9 hours. Their job requires them to be glued to the laptop,
Yeah.
and they're living a very fast-paced life because the traveling would take a little bit of time. They'll come home, they'll be tired. With that kind of a fast-paced life that they are living, they don't really have the time to even think of what is going on with them,
Hmm.
firstly. So
Yeah.
they don't have that awareness, okay, that maybe, why I'm feeling so acidic, why I'm feeling so bloated. They don't even know that. They just live with it. They feel that is
Yeah.
normal. Or they may be experiencing like a lot of anxiety and stress. Or they may be feeling like they're not able to sleep well.
Hmm.
And a lot of people, they feel like they're losing strength, they're losing stamina, they feel tired throughout the day, even if they sleep for 8 hours at night. So, when you tell people in feeling better, if you quantify that feeling better into
Yeah.
better sleep, better energy, feeling more young, and
Yeah.
looking younger, they would believe that, okay, that is possible, you know?
Hmm.
So, I usually don't convince people that they should do this because they will feel better. I only tell them that I only make them aware of the problem they're already going through.
Hmm.
Because
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's about, you know, let's say I'm sleeping for 5 hours or 6 hours and I'm not feeling very energetic throughout the day.
Yeah.
Most people feel that's normal,
Yeah.
but that is not. It's when you tell them that, hey, listen, just sleeping for 5 hours is not normal. It's not normal because the way you feel throughout the day, you're feeling tired. That is not normal. That is the problem. You tell them that is the problem.
Okay.
That's when like they become aware. Okay, maybe my lifestyle has some issues, right?
Hmm.
So that's when you try to fix them. And when they're on the journey with you,
Yeah.
instantly, I won't say instantly, but within a span of few weeks, you know, they start feeling a lot better. And that feeling a lot better is quite visible when they speak of their energy levels and their mental health.
So, Palak, this leads to a question of, which I find very relatable in, my friend circle, or let's say general, consensus of people I know, that the point on which you say that people sometimes just live with the feeling of not feeling active all the time. They just get on with it. Okay. That's normal. Okay. Just accept that and live on. And
Mhm.
you say that's not normal, but how does one start indicating that, like, what do you always need to go to a physician for this? Do you have some self diagnosis which you can do and check whether are you, is your body physiologically optimal or not? So how does a average person who doesn't have the knowledge of human physiology as much just tell that these are some basic checks that I can do which tell me that am I, what are the reasons for the problems that I'm facing?
Right. See, so I think first thing would be just really observing what's happening to your body,
Okay.
you know.
How
So
do you do that?
uh, the best way would be to journal it because, as
Okay.
I told you,
Hmm.
in such a fast-paced day, we will not have a time to. Sometimes I see people talking on the phone and eating food. They don't even remember what they have eaten, how it tastes like. So that mindfulness is missing. You know,
Yeah.
we are kind of scrolling or we are watching Netflix and then we are eating food. We're not even chewing the food properly. We don't even know what we have eaten or how much we have eaten. So the first thing would be to kind of observe your daily activity, what you're doing. And I would say to write down from the start that, okay, you woke up and you're starting your day. By the end of the day, It would be very difficult initially, but it gets better as you keep doing this activity. You journal your activity at before you sleep. Like, okay, I woke up at 7. I had this for breakfast. Most people don't even remember that what I had for
Yeah.
breakfast, and it's the same day.
Mm. Yeah.
So that will give them a sign that, oh my God, I'm not even able to remember what I had. That means I might be doing multitasking during my breakfast, you know?
Yeah.
So that gives them a sign that I need to remember what I had. I need to have that mindfulness of the activities I'm doing every day. That would be the
Yeah.
first easy way.
Mm.
And you can do with the help of journaling. Just taking like 5 minutes at the end of the day, kind of write the things down that you've been doing.
But let's talk about I think that point is bang on. I think that's a good indicator of remembering what you ate possibly 5 meals ago should be a good indicator of whether you are conscious of yourself or not.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the fact which I think most people are now beginning to struggle with, and me included, which is eating while watching something, eating while doing something, never just sitting and eating. Because now just sitting and eating feels like a serial killer vibe, just staring into the void and just sitting and eating. What are you doing? How do you
Mhm.
tackle that?
It's because the focus is not on the food,
Yeah. Definitely.
you know.
The food is just like, I think food has just become a byproduct of entertainment now. Like you are always consuming something mentally and you just want food on the side to just keep you alive.
That is alarming in itself, that we consider nutrition as like something just we need to eat it to survive.
Yeah.
If we don't give nutrition that much importance, it's never gonna work for us.
Yeah. So do
You know,
you do you have any measures that you personally take in which you make sure how you make sure that you're not watching something while you're eating? How do you
absolutely.
tackle that feeling of boredom?
See, for me, having my meal is like a meditative experience because I know that this meal is what is keeping me healthy, right?
Yeah.
Nutrition is a very important part of how we get energy, right? Food gives us energy. And not only that, it makes us healthier, depends upon the kind of food that we eat. So
Yeah.
for me, my breakfast is that time where I have to really cherish every bite. And if I
Mm.
have my breakfast ready, I'll make sure that I'm not attending any meetings on the phone or any calls or not scrolling. I would really take my time to kind of enjoy that meal, you know?
Yeah.
I would take every bite. I would take it slow so that I have a lot of time to kind of chew the meal properly and I would enjoy my meal. I mean,
Yeah.
people are not enjoying what they're eating because their mind is always occupied, preoccupied with a lot of other things. So, eating
Yeah,
is
I
an
think that's the
activity that
case.
you got to do like how you would do meditation, you know?
Mm.
And I have also seen that once you start focusing on what you eat, 80% of your food problems or health problem goes away because
Mm.
you become mindful of what you're putting into your system. So you're like,
Yeah.
okay, you know, people are not mindful, which is why they keep on eating a lot. And that leads to overeating.
I think it is conscious non-mindfulness of sorts. So like if I were to engage in any unhealthy activity, and I know that, let's say, this thing is bad for my health, but I will consciously choose not to study why it's bad for my health and consciously choose to engage in that. I think that is what people are doing consciously.
Consciously doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, like consciously not trying to choose the right kind of, consciously choosing their unhealthy habits. So I think that kind
Yes,
of translates into lifestyle problems of sorts, and you I'm sure
because
come across many.
yeah, because choosing the right thing is hard, That's it. I mean, as easy as it may sound, but if you do the right thing, it may be hard at first, right? Sitting and just eating without your phone might be very hard because it doesn't give you that entertainment around you, or it would require a lot of effort for you to focus on your food and be more mindful. So most people skip that part. They're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, this is so hard. Let me watch something. And
Yeah.
so the hard part is what only some people can do. And that's why only few people are healthy. I
Yeah.
think on this path to being fitter.
I think also this is very similar to there's that saying no that being fit is hard, and being unfit is also hard. That also comes with its problems. Being again, rich is
Absolutely.
hard, being poor is hard, being
Yeah.
again, healthy and healthy, whatever. So that I think is very true. So like you have to choose your
Choose your heart. Yeah.
difficulties anyway. So why not do something that is just naturally beneficial to your body, just increases your general experience of life. So
Right.
I
Exactly.
personally, I think I felt this experience of coming to a job now in Gurgaon, and post like college, it has become a kind of a sedentary lifestyle, because you're sitting a lot, you're not as active as you are when you're a student or in school. I see that,
Yeah.
if you continue this lifestyle for a long period of time without, taking any active repercussions for it, for, moderating your sedentary lifestyle, then you are just inviting a whole lot of problems into, your body, your life, whatever. So how does a
Yeah.
person who recognizes this, maybe, they recognize that they are leading a unhealthy or a sedentary life, how do they start this journey without hiring, let's say, a very fancy coach who will give them a huge budget cut? So how does a beginner start with their nutrition and their lifestyle change journey?
Okay. Um. See, I think it's also misconception that fitness is super hard. When I meant it's hard, it would mean that changing your habit in the first few days would be hard. But once you adapt to it, then it's going to be easier, you
Yeah.
know? So if someone wants to really start making a change without even going for a professional help, they can simply start by walking more.
Oh, okay.
Because yeah, that would be the most simplest thing anybody can do.
Can you
Yeah.
elaborate on that? Some benefits of walking, which most people just don't understand.
I think the first would be blood flow
Okay.
because when you walk, your muscles are in action. And when they're in action, the blood flow of the body increases. And the blood is what heals a lot of problems. You
Hmm.
know, for example, varicose veins. I've seen a lot of people having varicose veins. The primary reason is just sitting.
Hmm. Okay.
Uh, yeah, because you're sitting, you're not moving your legs, your muscles are rigid and stiff, and that part specifically, your veins started to show up.
Yeah.
The more you the more you walk, the blood flow will increase. You know,
Hmm.
it is as simple as that. So that is just one benefit of how walking can help you eliminate a major problem like varicose veins. Other than that, it would increase your step count. That means your heart is going to obviously become healthy because it's a cardiovascular exercise. The more you walk, the better your stamina is going to also be.
One follow up I have on that, Palak, which is that from a fitness perspective, you tell me that I've heard that running versus walking, this debate is eternally been had and keeps on having. But how do you pick a side on that? And because some people just think that I'll go for a jog, I'll go for a sprint, from today, and
Hmm.
someone chooses I'll go
Hmm.
for a walk. Which one is healthier? Which one is not? Which one is bad for your knees? Which one is bad for your back? Is there any?
Yeah, I feel like we cannot really compare the two
Okay.
uh, because it's like comparing apple and oranges. Both
Hmm.
have their benefits, right? Both have their benefits. It the activity you chose should be dependent upon the fact that um, it should suit your life and lifestyle.
Hmm.
So for someone who's very sedentary, let's say, you can't really start with sprinting.
Ah,
You know,
yeah.
if you start sprinting, the next day you won't be able to wake up, and it will have the worst effect on your body instead of having that positive impact
Hmm.
because your body is not adapted to that level of intensity of exercise.
Hmm.
So it needs to be chosen in respect to what you are at currently, what is your level currently.
Okay.
So for most beginners, when I say beginners, that would mean for most people who have never moved their bodies, I would never recommend them to go for a jog or a run.
Hmm.
That's why I
Oh, okay.
mentioned walking. Yeah,
Hmm.
because most people are having such a sedentary lifestyle. Their muscles are already stiff. If they do such a high intense activities, it's going to become even more stiffer.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we want to kind of open the body more, relax the body more initially, and get the body get adapted to movement.
Okay.
So walking is the easiest form of movement,
Hmm.
and that's why I would recommend that for a complete beginner having a sedentary life, and walking would be the most simplest thing. Because I have seen people being like all, you know, excited about starting their fitness journey, but that doesn't last long because of the fact that it takes a toll on them, because they
Yeah.
start with like such high intensive exercise or high intensity running. I mean, running is a high intensity workout in itself, or like sprinting, and it takes a toll after they keep doing for 2, 3 weeks and they just give up.
Yeah.
So it's not sustainable for a beginner. Having said that, there won't be any back pain or knee pain unless you already have a pre-existing problem. If you do it the right way would be to start slow and gradually.
Hmm.
Yeah, then there's never going to be knee pain or back pain. It's
Oh, okay.
only when you suddenly start, one day you just decide to run for like 5 kilometers, the next day your knees are going to pain for sure.
So do you think there's any difference in this debate as well, that running on concrete versus running on natural grass is either better or
There is a slight difference, yes. The impact on your knees is lesser if
on the
you
grass?
run right.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but again, for beginners, it may matter. But for a regular runner, it doesn't really hardly matter
Oh, okay.
because,
Okay.
yeah. And some runners definitely choose, they want to run on like a more softer surface. But I've seen like pro runners running on concrete and they're fine. So it's all
Hmm.
about how your body is reacting to that. But
Ah, okay.
definitely having a grass or a softer surface is much better to begin with.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And how do you start educating mostly, let's say, particular segments of your clients? We can talk about different demographics. So let's say, what are some common problems that you see in some of your female clients, which you see are a function of lifestyle issues, which if you could generally address, which would help most of them, like have healthier lifestyles and resolve those problems through that. Where would you like to start from?
So for women, the fitness systems are completely different. When I say different, it would mean their nutrition needs to be different, their workout programming needs to be different.
Hmm.
Because that is one thing most people don't consider outside in the industry today. They would give you a generic plan and would assume that it would work for a man and a woman both. But
Yeah.
that's not true.
Okay.
Because a woman's body completely works on a different mechanism. They
Hmm.
work on a 28-day cycle,
Yeah.
which is why we have periods, and the hormones are different. So we need to take that in consideration. So having said that, the key problem that I have been kind of encountering today is that a lot of women have PCOD.
Hmm.
PCOD is the
PCOD.
basic
What is
right.
that?
So it is polycystic ovarian syndrome. It is
Okay.
a problem wherein your period cycle is not regular.
Okay.
In a very layman term, not going into the scientific science of it or in the scientific way of it, but you can assume that a healthy reproductive cycle is a
Yeah.
28-day cycle, but someone who has PCOD would not be having that 28-day cycle. It would be
Okay.
quite irregular. Not only that, it would also lead to other issues like, acne or hair fall or weight gain. And
Okay.
it is a lifestyle disorder. So,
Okay. Hmm.
right. So this is one of the major issues that is cropping up today, PCOD.
Hmm.
And since it's a lifestyle disorder, if you kind of like dig deep into why it's happening, most of the reason is our sedentary lifestyle and stress.
Okay.
So
And you say sedentary lifestyle and stress. Can you just
yeah.
tell me a little bit more about both of them? Like, what do you mean when you say sedentary lifestyle? Like,
So see, sedentary lifestyle would include no movement. That would mean you're sitting for 8 to 9 hours a day.
okay.
Now, how it takes a toll on your hormones and body, and on top of that, if you top it with stress, once your cycle, see, it needs a regular supply of nutrition. It
Hmm.
needs movement. Your body needs movement for that blood to flow.
Yeah.
Now, the hormones doesn't function well if either of this goes wrong for a long time. So
Okay.
either you're stressing a lot that messes up your hormones. Once your hormones are messed up, it messes up your period cycle. So
Hmm.
once that keeps happening for a very long time, the problem arises.
I
And
see.
then you start seeing that women, what they start seeing is that, okay, either they get PCOD as a problem, or just so many women, they don't even get their periods on time.
Hmm.
And that is to do with either you're not eating enough nutrients, because nutrients will help your reproductive system to function well, right?
Yeah.
See, it's very simple that your body needs food to run all the systems it has: the
Yeah.
digestive system, the reproductive system, your cardiovascular system, your brain, the nervous system. And if you're not giving it enough and the right nutrients, one of the system will shut down. Let's just say that, you know. So
Yeah.
for the women, when it impacts their hormones, it impacts the reproductive system.
Hmm.
So yeah.
And this lifestyle nature of PCOD is fixed by exactly like how long does it take to reverse it, or is it a very personal subjective timeline for everyone, or are there just generic things that if you start doing then you can start resolving it?
So see, firstly, PCOD has no cure.
Okay.
It's a lifestyle disorder. Its symptoms can be managed.
Okay.
So you can only manage the symptoms. And I've seen a lot of people, when they adopt a healthy lifestyle, they focus on their nutrition, they focus on getting movement, and the stress level goes down. Their symptoms are managed. They don't see like irregular periods, or they start losing weight also.
Hmm.
So uh, definitely that depends on individual to individual. If there is
Yeah.
no specific timeline that in this time we would see the changes, that
Yeah.
would completely depend on how your body is again responding to different changes that you're doing. But once you
Hmm.
start fixing your lifestyle, the changes are quite visible.
Hmm. Yeah, I see. I think because I feel that on the internet also I've observed it that most of the body positivity, body image, and all of that talk is very centric to women, and I feel that's a very sensitive topic in general, and it's
Yeah,
mostly looked at from a angle of, I think, mostly, I don't understand, like I just feel it's looked at from a most toxic angle of just judgment and all of that, not from angle of physiological opportunity. Like everyone
yeah,
has an opportunity to just assess their body and just improve how see those physiological assessments of it and just move on to your body positivity journey. I think that should be the truly essence of it. But I just don't understand
yeah,
why there's no more talk on female nutrition, on more female centric exercises, or just workouts
yeah,
or programs being more female centric and giving them those resources and then letting them decide.
absolutely. You're correct. Because that was also the reason when I started fitness coaching, I was sure that I want to specialize in women's health per se, because there were hardly any coaches, tailoring to the women's needs.
Yeah.
And all the coaches out there, as I said, it's very generic. The fitness
Hmm.
advice is very generic.
Yeah,
That could
exactly.
be, it doesn't work for a woman's body. And
Yeah.
that is my personal experience as well. As I told you, when I started my fitness journey, nothing was working for me. The advices were not working for me. So I realized that that's the problem with a lot of women.
Yeah.
So it has to be specialized, and one has to talk about female health in a different light altogether.
Hmm. And I think I don't know if this is factually true or not. I probably read this on an Instagram post that women in fact do require more sleep than men for some reason. Is that true?
Yeah, that's again because they go through the 28-day period cycle. So when they're in the luteal phase is when the periods are about to happen, 2 weeks
Yeah.
before that. So those 2 weeks is when they lack energy. So everything is dull, basically you can say that.
Hmm.
Mood swings, they would crave more sweets, they will binge eat, they will have less energy. If they're into strength training, they would not be able to lift as heavy as they were. That's what
Okay.
I also observed. And that is when you require more sleep also,
Hmm. So I think
because
that is
you'll be
more
more tired.
recovery oriented. Yeah.
Yeah, so generally a woman would need more sleep, 8
Hmm.
hours. And that is simply because of their estrogen levels fluctuating throughout those 28 days.
And now since we've covered something on very female centric, let's talk about general issues that I think you would come across on a daily level, which are I sit for too long and I have back pain.
Mm,
I constantly, again, something that you said earlier, which is I constantly feel lethargic, I constantly feel energy, less energy in my body. I always need coffee to survive. So I think all of that,
mm.
that is always general discussions. But let's start with the back pain one. So how do you navigate that? Someone who sits for very long, let's say 8 to 10 hours, how do they make sure that their back, their spine, their all those troubles stay away?
So see, firstly, we need to know why this problem arises. One is, if we sit for 8 to 9 hours a day, our hip flexors in specific, they become tighter.
Hmm.
That's a muscle, and those muscles become really tight. Our hips become tight in general. All the load of the body, or all the load of your body weight, goes onto your back instead of your hips,
Hmm.
because your
Okay.
hips are, yeah, and they also start becoming weaker. So your hips also become weaker if you sit a lot. So ideally, when you sit, your body weight should come onto your hips,
Hmm.
right? But when people keep sitting for very long without strengthening their hips can't take your body weight. Then it's your back taking your body weight. Once your
Oh.
back, yeah, because hips will be like, I give up. I don't have strength to take the body weight.
Yeah.
You're sitting on top of me, but I don't have strength to take your weight. So, go somewhere else. Then the back will be like, okay, let me take that weight of your upper body. And then the whole weight comes on your lower back, and your lower back starts
Wow.
paining. Yeah, I don't know, I've kept it as simple as possible. But if the muscles could talk, that is what they would say. So once the whole load of your body weight comes onto your lower back, you start feeling that your lower back is paining constantly. Also, second reason could be due to the posture,
Yeah.
but mostly it is your weak hips and also your weak core. Our
Hmm.
core needs
That's a
to be
very interesting
strong
one.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, because if we don't have a stronger core, our core cannot support the body weight. Now, the core is the center of the body. So it should be able to take and balance the body. But if it's weak, again, it will say, I can't do this, I give up. Then the back will have to take it. and then
Yeah.
the pain comes. Yeah. So for someone who is into this issue or who is into this sedentary lifestyle and facing these issues, I would just suggest them to start with like taking 10 minutes after every 1 hour to walk. That would be the most simplest thing. And second would be to add some sort of strengthening exercise to their regime. And that
Yeah.
could be as simple as doing a home workout for
Hmm.
like, let's say, 3 times a week. 20 to 25 minutes of home workout 3 to 3 times.
Is that
Three
enough?
to 4 times a week. See, to begin with, yes.
Hmm.
Because as I said, we need to start small. We don't want to overwhelm the body too much because
Yeah.
as it is, the body doesn't have strength.
Yeah.
So you want to build strength gradually over a period of time. So it may not feel like you've done a lot and you would feel like, okay, it's not enough. I'm just doing it for the sake of it. But it all adds on. After 1 week, you'll feel slightly better. After 2 weeks, you'll be like, okay, I feel a lot more better. I feel a lot more better in my energy. After 4 to 6 weeks, you will start feeling better in your strength levels also.
Wow.
And as your body is able to take up more intensity of workout, you can obviously increase the number of days or the time. So you started with 20 minutes of workout, you can go up to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
You started with 3 days, you can go up to like 4 to 5 days. So that way you
Hmm.
can build up to it. So within 6 to 8 weeks, you will definitely see changes in your strength levels. And over a span of 12 to 16 weeks, all the pains
Yeah.
will be gone. It can happen early also. Again, there is no fixed number, but usually 12 weeks is a good number if you want to start something and see the results.
I think this is very similar to something that I talked to a physio, and they told me that when your body is telling you that it hurts somewhere, or whenever there's pain, that is possibly body is the last resource to tell you that you have to now take care of this. Possibly the damage had
Yeah,
started very early before it came to the
early.
stage of pain. So you are just indicated at the kind of emergency or alert stage by your body that this is hurting, now fix this. So you have to be cognizant of making sure that in general you are keeping your body healthy, because if you
Right,
start just responding to those signals whenever you are receiving pain from a part of your body, then you're always playing catch up. You'll fix this, you'll fix that, you'll fix this, you'll fix that.
right.
But I think if
Yeah,
you're consciously knowing that what is happening, if you're maintaining your posture right, your core is strong, your whatever healthy lifestyles that you want to adopt,
yeah,
if all of them are in place, then I think you truly actually have a healthy lifestyle. Either then you're just
yeah,
responding to symptoms, or you're always managing symptoms of something or the other. Because
absolutely.
I'm pretty sure even a average person, if just medically diagnosed heavily, will come up with possibly, what's your guess? I would say 15 to 20 for sure illnesses.
Um, I can't put a number to it honestly, but I think 90% of the people have few symptoms in common, which is firstly the knee or the back pain,
Yeah.
and that is also synonymous with lack of strength in the body.
Hmm.
So that is one
Yeah.
symptom that I've seen like 90% of the people facing today, especially people working in the corporate. And second would be I feel like on the same lines, but very low energy. That also could be due to vitamin B12 deficiency or D3 deficiency.
Yeah, I think those two are
So
the ones which are deficient in everyone's medical report.
yeah, so 90% of the Indians are B12 deficient today. That was never the case, I don't know, 20, 30 years back. I've never heard of B12 deficiency when I was a kid. I
Yeah.
don't know, like my parents never had this deficiency or my grandparents, but now everybody, like even young
Yeah.
people.
I think it's so interesting to think about that. Now that you've pointed this out, I think I'll probably have a conversation with my mom and dad about this. That why are all
Yeah,
of these diagnoses coming up at our age for so many illnesses and so many problems are coming up. at, this deficiency, that problem, this lifestyle problem. Why didn't they come at when you were 24, you were 23, you were 25?
I think the way like the options have been, uh, evolved.
Yeah.
Options, would mean like so many options that we have today, and the convenience of life. Life was not that convenient when, our parents were living their life. They had to do everything on their own. They didn't have the option to order food.
Yeah.
They that whole concept wasn't there. So right now we are having so many triggers and distractions. We know that okay, if you're hungry, we can just order a pizza or anything, and that increases the chances of we eating more processed food, which lack
Hmm.
all these nutrients. So
Yeah.
ultimately, our body is not getting enough of them. So that's, I think, one of the reasons. That's one of the drawback of, I think, what, civilization or whatever you call it. You know, whatever you call it, like, I don't know, development. That is a drawback because our grandparents and our parents had to go out and even buy groceries. That would require some effort. That would require
Yeah. Movement.
body to move.
Yeah.
And even if you want to be sedentary, like you don't have a choice, you'll have to go to the market, buy stuff for yourself, then you cook, and then you eat that. So
See,
that would burn calories.
that's so true, because I'll tell you this experience of mine, and which is so degenerate, like, because you're not moving at all. So me and my friends are playing FIFA one night, and we think of ordering, something, chips or something like that. And then in I think in a time like probably 20-30 years from ago, well, I don't know how many kids played FIFA, but let's say they wouldn't be able to order any chips. Okay, that idea goes out. Even if they had to, they would have to sneak out somewhere, go get chips if any shop was
Yeah.
open, things like that. And we go
Mhm.
on Blinkit, we order chips, and we resume playing even before the match is finished. Like the bell rings in like 5 minutes. And that is just
Right.
like realizing that what is happening is so crazy that you don't even need to move a finger to, get things delivered at your doorstep. And
Yeah.
that is just low effort and high reward. That is just, disastrous for a body, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. In every way, it is disastrous, not just for the body, it's for the mind also.
Yeah.
Because in general, you just get lazier. Your mind knows that you don't have to work hard. So everything will be available on the tips of your fingers whenever you need it. So as a person, you lose the willingness to put work into getting something, as you said, you know. Uh, so yeah, it is, I think, quite detrimental in every way.
I think also it is, you know, you need to also find what really works for you. I think in regards to, whenever
Yeah,
you're trying to adopt a healthy lifestyle, because there's a
yeah,
lot of talk about, this has possibly, this research proves this research proves that. There are
yeah,
so many resources to keep track of. I think a whole life would spend by, and you wouldn't be able to know, what is good for and what is bad for that. So I think it's just
absolutely.
about being very, again, conscious. It's just about being very, and would say it's also about being curious. I always find,
Yeah,
curiosity in things that you put in your body. Like, you should be
yeah,
curious about what you're putting in your body. You should try to think
absolutely.
about why your, elbow is paining a certain way, or why it is restricted in this movement and not in that, because this is the only body that you've got, essentially. This is your
Yeah,
home for whatever life
yeah,
you have.
absolutely. I think like when people go through certain problems, physically, they have no idea what's happening in their body, and it's very easy for anyone to fool them
Yeah. Hmm.
because that's how the fitness industry is also built upon fooling you, because you would be like, okay, if I'm feeling back pain, then I should do this exercise. Okay, he's saying that, maybe that works. But
Yeah.
if you know, like how we talked about that, it's because your core is weak and your hips are weak. If you start training your hips and your core, your back pain will eventually disappear instead
Yeah.
of putting some balm over your back every night and then, fixing it magically overnight. That's not going to work. So not wasting your resources into
Yeah.
buying those products if you know, if you're aware. So being curious is a great thing because that leads to you getting more knowledge about your body. And that saves you a lot of money and, from someone else fooling you.
I think super awesome conversation, and learned a lot about the human body, and especially I loved how explicitly and how um, practically you gave advice for general folks who can try and implement all of this in their daily lives. And super thankful for your time on the show, Palak. Thank you so much
I
for doing
loved
this.
it. I loved having this conversation with you. So thank you so much for having me.
Yep, sure, will do. I think if we have another specific physical demand needed episode, we'll definitely catch up with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can do that. That would be fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Palak.